radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome, Fade to Black. Yeah, how you doing? Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? How you doing? Today's Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. Let's do this. For KJCR, the Game Changer, and Unnext Networks, I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking? How you doing? How you doing? Man, oh man, what a week here on Fade to Black. And tonight, Randall Nickerson joins us. We're going to be discussing his new film. It's called Ariel Phenomenon. That's right, Ruwa, Africa, the school children, the contact, the sighting. Yeah, we're going to do all of that tonight. And tomorrow is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Almost did open lines tonight. Yeah, you got to love technology. You got to love technology. And now a couple of things that are coming up. I've let everybody know, and I kind of have to do this because I forgot to pull the commercials. No, it isn't that I forgot. I haven't had the time for the Egypt tour. Been getting emails from you out there saying that there are no more tickets available. That's because we have sold it out. So that is sold out. And then a couple of things that are coming up for me immediately is June 5th, which is in 2 weeks. I will be in Detroit for the premiere of Billy Carson's Black Knight film. And the information for that is up in social media. If you would like to go, tickets are available. So we would love to see you there for the premiere of the film. It's a red carpet event, Q&A. I think there's going to be a Q&A before and after the film. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see you there. And then, this Friday, as in 2 days, I'm going to go see Yngwie Malmsteen play here in Southern California. I missed Hypocrisy last night, and I still feel bad about that. But I'm going to go see Yngwie on Friday. And I don't know what the ticket situation is for that. But, okay, so June 5th, I'll be in Detroit. June 15th, which is a Wednesday night. June 15th, I am going to be taking the night off. Why would you take the night off, Jimmy? That's not really too cool, Jimmy. Why would you do that, Jimmy? That's because Hot Crazy. That's right. Jordan Ziff's band, Hot Crazy, is playing the Peppermint Club in Hollywood, West Hollywood. It is going to be an amazing night. I'm going to be there. Talk to Jordan about it all day today, man. I am just really excited about this. So I'm going to be doing that. That's on June 15th. And then 2 days after that, 3 days after that, on Saturday, June 18th, I'll be hosting Disclosure Fest right here in Los Angeles. I got a busy month coming up here. And that is Saturday in downtown Los Angeles at the Los Angeles State Historic Park. And tickets available and information over at disclosurefest.org. Okay. And I think we've got links down below. And I'll get the Peppermint Club up for all of you that are in the Los Angeles area that want to come and hang out and see Hot Crazy. You want to see Hot Crazy. That's a great band right there. And I was just goofing around. Well, not goofing around. I was working, but on YouTube, and a commercial popped up. One of those ads, and I'm watching the ad. And what was I watching? Oh, wait. I might have. It was when I had uploaded one of the guitar videos to our YouTube channel. So I was watching the video to check out the 1080p resolution. That's what. And guess who popped up in the ad? Jordan Ziff. I was like, check it out. And it was for a guitar company. But there's Jordan just doing his thing. Yeah, it was pretty cool. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I've been engaging a little bit more on Twitter than I have in a long, long time. And we use Twitter for business. Twitter got interesting for me because I only follow so many people, and that's really it. And it's done that way for a reason. I mean, if I followed, I have, 30,000 followers. So if I have 30,000 followers, that means if I followed everybody back, I would have to read through 30,000 feeds every day. That's it, right? It defeats the purpose. And so anyway, I only use it because when you have that many followers and I do a post, if I do a personal thought, right? I do a personal thought and I get it out there, you get all sorts of replies. And then suddenly I've got to get into a sword fight, with somebody over what, right? And which in most cases it's absolutely nothing, and I'm not interested in doing any of that. But I kind of broke all of my own rules in the last 48 hours, and I know it's rare, man. You don't see that from me. I'll read Twitter. I just won't post on Twitter. Oh man, thank goodness I got somebody managing most of that mess for me. And that's really the truth. It would just take up all of my time. Because it's a lot of fun. But you can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. And when I post that lone tweet, when I do that lone reaction and I'm going after somebody, you get to catch it right there at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ. You've been algoed. You've been algoed. What's algoed? Algoed? Is that algorithmed? That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah, maybe. Peppermint Club right there. Thank you for that, Kaz. And it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a great night. Too bad, Kaz, you're not on this side of the pond, right? Okay. Let's get to the breaking news. I like feel-good stories. I do. I like feel-good stories like this one. 2 teams from one high school in Bellevue, Washington are flying high after a rocket launching competition on the other side of the country last weekend because Newport High School Team 2 Newport High School Team 2 won the national championship at the 2022 American Rocketry Challenge, the largest student rocketry competition in the world. The team of 10 students bested 99 other teams competing in the national finals in the Plains, Virginia. Now, they won the right to represent the United States at the International Rocketry Challenge at the Farnborough Air Show outside of London in July. The team also took home 20,000 ducks. That's right. 20,000 ducks quacking at the Newport High School pond. Now, Newport Rocketry's Team 1 also did pretty good, finishing second. And they raked in an additional 15,000 duckaroos. The two teams were among 724 teams from 41 states that competed in this year's challenge. Absolutely 100% congratulations. And that is absolutely amazing. Did you ever do rocket? Okay, so this is, okay. I'm going back to, I want to have this straight because I had the same shop teacher 2 years in a row. 7th grade shop class. We went through, this is in Indianapolis, and I'm sure the same curriculum happened statewide in Indiana. This is Public School 103. I don't even think we had a name for the school. It was just PS 103. That's where I went. And we did a whole rocket semester. We built rocket cars out of wood. That was really cool. I still can't believe we did this stuff. Then we built rockets and went out and launched them. Now, this is the deal. Once I found out that there was a thing called a rocket engine, me and my friends and I, we're going to the hobby store, man. We're buying these rocket engines, and there was different sizes that you could buy. And I'm telling you, I'm 11 years old. You don't sell an 11-year-old kid a rocket engine, but you could. And we did. And we started building stuff, man. We would have won a rocket competition, just not the sanctioned kind. Man, we were blowing stuff up. It was great. Taping them together, 5 rocket engines with the battery clips going inside, trying to get them all to ignite at the same time. Sometimes they would. And absolutely crazy. All right, where am I at? Why did I do that? So then I made a wooden rocket car, but it didn't have a rocket engine in the back. You put a CO2 cartridge in, and you had this little thing with a nail and a rubber band, and you pulled it out, pew, pow, boom, pew, right, and take off. It was a lot of fun. It was cool, and it was on a string, and it would go maybe, I don't know, I think we did them in the hallways of school. I don't know if we did it outside. Anyway, but then one day I'm sitting there with my friend Keith, and I was like, Keith, check it out. The rocket motor fits in here. Yeah. We actually did that stuff in school. I can't believe it. All right. In 1996, a rock from space was found in southwestern Egypt's Great Sand Sea. The rock was odd, even by extraterrestrial standards, and a team of researchers studying the rock's chemistry now propose that it came from a supernova. Now, think about this for a second. The rock is named Hypatia, after a 4th century Egyptian mathematician. Based on the pattern of 15 elements in a 3-gram sample of the stone, a team of researchers suspects that Hypatia came from well beyond our stellar neighborhood. I mean, way beyond. And emerged from the gas and dusty debris that followed a distant star's explosion. Their research is published in the journal Icarus. Now, Remember, Oumuamua, our first. Kaz, you are so fast with this. You know, how do you get my exclusive news break story that only myself and Renee know anything about, right? Uh-oh. It looks like we are good. All right. I am excited about the news that I'm about to bring you in just a few minutes. Okay. Where am I at? What was I just? Icarus. So Oumuamua, our first interstellar visitor, right? Well, now apparently not. This one landed. So there you go. And it's an incredible, incredible looking stone. So go and check that out. Now, a molar thought to have belonged to a Denisovan girl between the ages of 4 and 8 at the time of her death has been discovered by an international team of researchers in a cave. Are you ready? In the Annamite Mountains in Laos. The cave is only the third location where Denisovan remains have been found, and the first in Southeast Asia. Traces of Denisovan DNA have been found in living populations in the southeast of Asia. However, sediments around the tooth have been dated to, check this, 164,000 and 131,000 years ago. Clement Zanoli of the University of Bordeaux explained that the child's molar resembles the teeth in a partial Denisovan mandible discovered in a cave on the Tibetan Plateau and has features that distinguish it from other Homo species like you and I that lived in Southeast Asia at that time. It's an incredible photograph. Let's see how long it takes for Kaz to get that up in Twitter. Oh, it's right there, man. All right. Now for some more good news. It's been nearly 8 months since we last had a teaser trailer for season 3 of The Orville. And over 3 years since the second season finale. I gave up on Orville. I love the show so much. I had to put it out of my mind. It's just depressing. Well, season 3 of Orville is finally here. And a new episode of season 3 of The Orville is about to hit on June 2nd. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And one will drop each week from June 2nd forward. I think there's 10 glorious episodes coming our way, by the way, on Hulu in the United States. Together with all of the first and second seasons, by the way, so you can just binge it all out. Viewers in Belgium, Canada. Now, I'm speaking to all of our friends around the world right now. Here's the update. This is how I assist you because we're all family, right? Well, viewers in Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Hong Kong, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Norway, Singapore, Spain, Sweden, Taiwan, and the United Kingdom can watch on Disney Plus. Write that down. With accessibility coming soon for Japan and South Korea. Viewers in Latin America can watch on Star Plus. There you go. Man, doesn't that change things? I loved Orville so much, and I say that past tense. I mean, I loved it so much. There were things about it that were divine perfection, and it was the comedy. It was the cutting edge social commentary that was happening. The way that we visited our past and also took a look at the future of our culture. Right there with Orville, but it was also the design. It was the set. It was the costumes. Certainly the special effects. I dug all of that, and for me, because it was so sarcastic at points, which is my personality, that I just understood it and I got it. and I enjoyed it. And we had to wait, 2 years between season 1 and season 2, and that drove me nuts. And I think a lot of it is Seth MacFarlane's fault. One, he's a perfectionist, too. He's got too many things going on at the same time, right? And so that was an issue. And then there was a Fox issue, and then there was this issue, and was there going to be and then there was COVID, and the next thing you know, it's been 3 years. 3 years. Man. I thought I drew the line with The Sopranos. And what was the other one? Game of Thrones. Where suddenly it was just like everything was a 2-year wait in between seasons, and that's just outrageous. Shoot while you're airing the season. What, everybody gets to take a year off? All right. But anyway, the wait is over. It's going down on June 2nd, and we got to wait once a week. All right. Now, I'm gonna leave you with this bad news. Japan's nuclear regulator today approved plans. Are you ready? By the operator of the wrecked Fukushima nuclear plant to release its treated radioactive wastewater into the sea next year, saying that the outlined methods are safe and risk to the environment are minimal. Allegedly. That's right. Radioactive wastewater. Their words. Let's get the show cracking. On this day in history, 1980. I remember this like it was yesterday. Mount St. Helens, a volcanic peak in southwestern Washington, erupts, killing 57 people and devastating some 210 square miles of wilderness on this day in 1980. Fader fact. You ready? Okay, sorry. Now I had you muted. Sorry. Who was muted? Who? Somebody's been muting. I love muting. Are you muted on Twitter? You'll never know. Fader fact. In effort to keep morale high, okay? In an effort to keep morale high for World War II troops fighting in the Pacific, the British built a floating brewery. They did. The United States, because those are British troops and the British Army, they know what they're doing. They know what their troops need, so they built a beer factory. The United States recommissioned a warship to make ice cream. And that is your Fader fact. Tonight, we welcome very special guest Randall Nickerson is with us. We had some issues that seem to be resolved. Not yet. And Randall, if you're listening to me, fire your video up. We're going to check all of this during the break, and I'm going to make sure that we are up and ready to go because tonight, Randall Nickerson joins us. He is, Randall, don't click on my stuff. Randall's clicking on my stuff. No, down here on you. You can't move my stuff around. That's for the director. How does he have access to that? Randall, you're not supposed to have access to that's for the big kids. He's a movie director. He's a film director, documentarian, and his new film will release on May 20th. It is called Ariel Phenomenon. And tonight we are going to discuss the film, his career, and so much more. This is Fade to Black. Oh, also, let me hit this River Moon coffee. Is this. As promised, I yapped too long earlier in the show. As promised, this is the deal with the UFO hearing that went down just yesterday. Today's the 18th. That happened yesterday. And I knew, I mean, I was excited, and after it ended, I was happy. I got what I needed. Oh, did I want more? I always want more. But huge achievements were made, big steps forward. It was a great day. It was exciting. But this is how I looked at it. And I find it funny that more don't share my point of view. I think they are now, which is this. Just the mere discussion that we had yesterday will cause further discussion today. That's with everybody there, Andre Carson and Gallagher and Welch, right? And the need and the desire to get information. And I'm talking about for Congress and the Senate, and how we're going to move this forward, and what is going to be next. And when I say that, you know, the Department of Defense and the Navy, they threw up their 2 guys yesterday. All right, they threw them up. Who is Congress? Who is the Senate? Who are they going to invite next? Now, what if they go completely civilian? And they just start hearing from us, you know, and I'm serious, man. What if they bring up MUFON? What if they bring up Richard Dolan, right? What if they bring up Dolan to sit there and look at those senators' faces and go, this, and this? It's going to be the opposite of what happened yesterday for sure. Okay, they had to bring up Roswell and Malmstrom and the Wilson Davis document. But what if it's the opposite of that? Where there's piles of info. You want info? Here. Check this out. More than you can read. Check out my books. Boom, boom, boom. Read those. Right? That's what's happening today. And this discussion is going to continue. So much came from the hearing yesterday, you know, and for those out there that, you know, that have been tweeting for 12 months and they think they're UFO researchers, right? And you know, now they know the name of, you know, Greenwald or Greenstreet or Dolan or Elizondo. They're suddenly, you know, like experts. They don't, you know, and they just want this resolved, you know, in an instant. It doesn't work that way. And so for those, whatever, you know, you're never going to be happy because you don't know what you're doing. Here with us, I'm telling you, exciting, big time stuff about to go down. I'm going to take our break right here. Got to get this in. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Randall Nickerson. The film premieres May 20th. It's called Ariel Phenomenon. I have watched it at least 3 times. Yeah, at least. And we'll discuss other elements that I've seen a lot when we come back after this short break. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make
Okay.
time.
This is Church of Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
You have an interest in the paranormal? Then you'll love the unxnetwork.com. The X is your streaming audio and video for everything supernatural, strange, and mysterious, like UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, and so much more. From hosts like Jimmy Church, Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, and Christina Gomez. Visit the unxnetwork.com show page for a complete list of all the paranormal programs you'll find on the X. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates at KUNXDB. Follow our Facebook group, UnX Network. Find the podcast on Spotify, iHeart, Audible, and Apple Podcast. It's time. It's new. It's the X.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, very special guest, Randall Nickerson is here, joining us to discuss his new film, Ariel Phenomenon. Tomorrow's another Fader night with open lines all night long. Randall has been working in the film industry since 1987, first as a stage and film actor, before transitioning into cinematography, and ultimately into directing in 2001. After several short documentaries, he made the leap to his first feature-length film, Ariel Phenomenon. He's also an accomplished photographer, and you can visit his personal page for that stuff, and it's pretty amazing. And go and check it out. All of the links for Randall are right there on our website and throughout social media. And I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Randall Nickerson, a film director who hasn't got his camera running. And Randall, how you doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Would love to see you.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out here.
You know, see, the thing is, they don't teach you this in film school. See, they don't, you know, you go through all of that. Okay, while you are busy clicking, this is great. While you're busy clicking, I'm going to give you the first time guest disclaimer, which is, Randall, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. And just maybe we will get the stuff worked out tonight, but the show must go on. And I'm going to start. I actually want to start here. There are so many. I got to throw you the softball obvious question.
Sure.
What got your interest, not about Ariel, but in the subject in general? What got you started there? Was it a crazy aunt or uncle when you were growing up?
No. Yeah, I don't really talk about it too much. But yeah, I had seen something that opened my eyes, so to speak. You know.
What did you see?
Well, I just don't want to go too into it's. I don't want to take away from the story of these kids and Ariel. But I did see something that spurred on my interest and curiosity of like what was that?
Right, right. How old were you?
I was a young kid actually.
And were you old enough to understand, or
Oh no,
because
matter
you
of
and
fact, I blocked it out for like 13 years.
sure, I've done the same thing, and
Hmm.
here's the thing. I'm a dude. You're a dude. And when you're a young dude, we're into helicopters and airplanes and rockets, and we always wanted to be an Air Force pilot, right? Okay.
Totally.
And so when you go through that, now that's not an exclusively a little boy thing. Girls go through that too, I'm sure, to some degree. But with boys, everybody wanted to be a pilot. That was the rules. And the difference between a plane and a helicopter. You know the difference between a helicopter and a rocket, or the Goodyear blimp. And if you see something in the sky that doesn't fit anything that you're an expert on at the age of 10, right, or whatever, you know that you're seeing something different, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was building models since I was really young. And that was my dream, to be an Air Force pilot, to be honest with you. I do fly now. I'm a pilot now. Took a
No, is
little
that
while.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And but yeah, I mean, I even as a 10-year-old, I knew a lot about aircraft and helicopter. I was building them. I still have them. Like I've got
So do
models
I.
all over the place.
Sure.
But yeah, that when you see something really different that just shouldn't be there, then change.
Yeah. And so you ended up blocking it out. You said for 13 years. What caused you to recall it? And did you remember it like you think you remembered it?
Oh yeah, I didn't recall it. It happened again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about the movie. We're
I know.
talking.
Let's talk about the movie.
No, we're talking.
I don't want to get too down my own. I mean, I just my intention as a director was not really to talk about my
And you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
my personal story so much because I even though I may have had something, I had seen something very similar to what they're talking about. Um, I don't know. I just don't want to distract from them, their story.
Well, you don't, and you won't. But here's the deal, Randall. You're right. Never put yourself in the middle of what you're doing. Right.
Yeah.
I try not to do it on this show, but it is my job to
I
get
know.
your personal stuff out of you.
Of course.
And I'm really good at it.
You are good at it.
I'm really good. Okay, but now here's the thing. When we look at what is going on today, and Ariel, and certainly with our community, is a subject and an event that we discuss a lot. It is well researched. We've got lots of very smart people out there that have looked into this over the years, and myself included. Now, I had told when I was first told about the film, and from Chrissy, I told Chrissy then, I said, I've seen all of the John Mack footage, right? And I still have it in high def on my computer. And it was sent to me many years ago. And I have absolutely done the deepest dive that I can do into this. And this film will be important to me. I want to see how Randall handles this. And I hadn't even seen it yet. I didn't know that John Mack, or I didn't know about any of that with the film, right? She was just telling me about it. And would I be interested in checking it out? And I was so excited knowing that somebody like you was going to take the reins here. Okay, so, and then at the same time, Ariel is premiering on the 20th. On the 17th, we've got UFO hearings going on Capitol Hill.
Mhm.
And so combined with all of that and your two sightings and maybe more, that all of this has led you down a path to one of the most exciting times in the history of mankind. And that is what is profound. Your own personal journey is our journey. And I think it's fantastic.
Thanks. It's been a rough one. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
Rough in what aspect? In the making of the film?
Oh yeah, that too.
Or your personal journey.
Just a lifetime, just knowing, no matter what I did in my life, when you see this stuff, it changes your life in a deep, profound way. And all you can do is speak up, in some way, and try to just let people know, like, guys, we've got a problem here. Like, literally, we've got something way bigger going on that we should be paying attention to. But it's, it was hard a lot, and still is to some degree. But for people to realize that there's something more intelligent, more evolved, more sophisticated, that's been here.
Do you, when you relate to Ariel and what the government there, and also the school system, and you had the local news, everybody in town was involved in this at some point.
Yeah.
That, do you feel that they knew more than they were leading on, just like we look at our government over here in the United States or the United Kingdom or Australia, it doesn't matter where you point it at, that the state actors of the world are aware of the phenomenon, that sometimes things happen out of their control, like Ariel?
Yeah, the Zimbabwean government said, and their Air Force said their radar was out.
Convenient.
Yeah. So, and when you go into research this, and the original reporter from the BBC did this as well, and they told them the same thing. And it was also another country's radar that was also out. So, yeah, it's quite an interesting story. There's so many people that were there and had witnessed some pretty strange things, not even at the school.
Now, what was the synchronicity that brought you to this story?
I had finished a 16-minute film, and I was sharing it around with people. We'd have like little 5-10 people gatherings. And I showed it to this woman, Dominique, and she was a friend of John Mack's, and she really liked it. And she asked me right after I played it if I would be interested in doing a movie on those kids. Because I remembered the first time I'd seen those clips, which was in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, 12 years later, I said yes. And then just worked with the Mac material for a while, and then said, I got to go to Ariel School. I have to find it, and did that, found it, and then realized there were other media that recorded interviews, so it was quite a journey of seeing more and more archival footage and being convinced from a lot of that, and a lot of the details, and it stands out, and just an amazing story.
Did you know? Did you know who John Mack was?
Yeah. Yes.
And now how did you? Okay, so when you find out that John Mack packs up, right, heads over, thankfully with the best video equipment that he could get, and shot and interviewed, stayed, hung out, did a town hall or two, right? I mean, this is pretty extraordinary stuff.
Yeah.
And that it was all preserved and archived, and that these files were available, shot pristine, right, widescreen, and how surprised were you that John Mack took it to that level?
It didn't surprise me so much. I knew he was good at documenting and recording audio because he'd been doing it his whole career, and as a psychiatrist. And so when I started to find the material, nobody had found a lot of that material, because I had run into people that were there that day, that were reporters, and I asked them, what do you have? Did you save anything? And they all said, yeah, I saved everything. Every single reporter said, I saved everything. Their little notes, video. And I mean, there's video. There's only one person, me and one other person, that has a tape of the kids that interviewed like 2 weeks later. But it was the accumulation of all the archival that was really fascinating. And then also on John Mack's story.
Now, you took an approach. Now, I will do my best to not spoil anything, but there are some moments in this film that I would like to touch upon. But more so than that, I thought that the approach to the film and the way that you decided to make it was very interesting, in that you decided to and you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? Jimmy, you're way out of bounds. That's not what I meant to do. But this is how I saw it, that you chose to look at the hero's journey from the perspective of two people that were there. And one is, a reporter, a camera, a war, photographer, and one of the child witnesses. And to echo their journey and then weave through that the facts and the sound bites and the video that are on the record.
Yeah. It was difficult to bounce back and forth in time. That was one of the challenges I had in making the film.
Well, you made it look easy.
Oh, well, it took a long time. To craft a film without a narrator is really difficult.
Right.
I mean, the entire, all the people that are in that movie are first person witnesses. No second person, no third person. They're all first person, to the story or to the event. So yeah, it was like building a massive, 10,000 piece puzzle. It took forever. But
now, what's it like emotionally to? I'm not going to say that lives were wrecked because of this, but certainly the paths of these two could have gone in another direction if Ariel wasn't involved. And when you know what I mean, and you have to, as a director, you have to deal with this crazy, deep, heartfelt emotion.
Correct. And everybody deals with it differently, that I worked with and met. And some people struggle with it more, and some people, in my opinion, they just block it out. They know it happened, but they'd rather not think about it, which I understand to a certain level.
Sure. Now let's set up before we hit the break here. For those that may not know what we're talking about, let's get down to the fundamentals. When we talk about the Ariel event, what was it?
It was in 1994 in a rural a rural primary school in Zimbabwe. And the children were on recess at the Ariel school, which is a very large playground, just so you know. It's a very large campus. It's almost like a college size as far as fields. And they witnessed this craft in the air first, and then it came down in the area of their cross country course, which was outside of their boundaries that they could cross every day, to be on playground. And two creatures came out of that silver oval thing, as they describe it, or some of the indigenous people described it as a basket with another basket on top of it, or a rock. that was oval. It was fascinating, actually. One of these creatures approached the playground toward these kids, and there was some kind of contact between them that, according to them, came through their heads. Psychic. I mean, that's all I can think about is that. Communication, and some of those communications to the kids were about some of the things we're doing on this planet.
There, immediately that day, the day that this goes down, and the kids somewhere between 60 and 90, right? I know that we got a couple of different head counts.
Yeah, the reason why is that we need to have all the witnesses come forward, and not all of them drew pictures. So
no, I've read the same thing over the years, and it was really it was excellent for you to have the same numbers that we've all been familiar with. So you're covering this story, you're making this film, and you're coming up with the same numbers. Things didn't shrink or get exaggerated. It's always been that 60 to 90. But anyway, so that day, the kids have friggin' lost their minds. Right, they're running around, they're doing their thing, and now when kids that age run into school and are trying to attract the attention of adults about little green men, they're not going to get listened to. Right? Yeah. I'm not going to listen to it as an adult. Okay, all right, little green men, great. Now go back outside and play. And that was more or less what was going down on day one.
That's pretty much true. That's what happened. Yeah.
And the foundations that were laid out on day one, by day two, do you feel that I haven't even gotten to day three, but that the game telephone comes into play a little bit?
Yes. Actually, what really changed it was the kids went home and told their parents. And then all the parents called the school. Like, what happened to my kid?
Mm-hmm.
She's talking about aliens, like seeing some weird things. And then, so the parents called, and that's how the BBC got involved.
Now, and so that's day two. And now, the headmaster, the teachers, and other adults, right, that are there, they've now got to deal with this directly. And then if we back up to minus, the day before and the week before, were there sightings in Zimbabwe?
Yes.
And that's pretty significant. Were those sightings in the news? Were they reported? Would this have been anything that the kids would have heard?
Well, I don't know. I know that there was, this rocket body reentry, like on a Wednesday night,
right?
In that week, and then, I was really focused on that as a possibility. Like, did they hear, or was this talk about that made them create a story or something? That was one of my, propositions. And then I started to find people that had seen things on the day after Ariel, the day before Ariel, the Thursday night. Those were pilots that saw that thing.
Right.
So, I mean, I just had a lot of respect for them to even come on camera. But that kind of ruled out the Russian explanation.
Yeah, the re-entry of the second stage, and
right.
and
you know your stuff. Good.
Yeah.
Great.
But here's the thing. What the kids were describing, and I only bring this up because over the years, different researchers have looked into this and had found reports of UFO sightings leading up to Ariel and immediately after. But these weren't reports that the kids would have ever have known about. And in some cases, they were in the next country in Africa. It wasn't necessarily Zimbabwe.
Right.
And so what the kids saw was a singular event. That was their event. And let's face it, this is Zimbabwe. It's not like you have, the internet and 200 cable channels coming in to get your news every single day. That's simply not the case. This is rural Zimbabwe.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah.
I got to tell you, like, there was a report from somebody at the school. One of the workers at the school, the following after Ariel happened, came in and made a report of what he saw. And there were things going on. I mean, there's so many different events that happened. It was unfortunate because there was so much that was happening outside the school, reports that were happening outside the school, that a lot of the focus was on the school, of course, but even I found there were so many rabbit holes to go down to look and see what was there, more than I could handle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean the rabbit holes in a negative sense, just that
there's so much information. Yeah.
There were so many leads. There were so many things I just couldn't chase down. It's just a matter of time, it's just time. But I did the best I could, for sure.
Now, when we come back, we're going to jump. I want to stay on. Well, obviously, I want to stay on day one. It was only one day, but day one is very important because all of this affected how John Mack was contacted and how the BBC got involved. Some of this is in the film, but I'm interested on how all of this transpired, because synchronicities are crazy. And unless you follow up on a synchronicity, the synchronicity just goes away. Ariel was a string of synchronicities, and it was a crazy connection of the dots, man. And that's what I want to go through when we come back after the break. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, with us right here, I assure you, Randall Nickerson is here. He's just in the dark. Maybe we'll get his video up when we come back after this short break. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer and UNX networks. We'll be right back. More with Randall after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, the X.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can, right now, get your free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Hi, Race Hobbs with the X. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you have an interest in unexplained phenomena like ghosts, Bigfoot, and UFOs. And by now, you know that we have our own X blog, the UnX newsletter, and the UnX magazine quarterly. But most of you don't know that we have started our very own paranormal conference. And this year, for safety, this 2-day XCon will be virtual, so you can attend from the comfort of your home. XCon presenters include Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, Margie Kay and Preston Dennett, Lisa Martin and Wayne Lawrence, Lee Spiegel, Debbie Zagelmeyer, Dan Terry, Kate Grabowski, and Ray Hernandez. There will also be a live paranormal investigation by the Riverside, Iowa Paranormal Team. So come hang out with us in the safety of home as we set out to explain the unexplained Friday, May 13th and Saturday the 14th, 2022. And tickets are on sale now. Go to unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Race Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black.
All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Welcome to everybody listening and watching all around the world. And tonight our guest is Randall Nickerson, and the film is Ariel Phenomenon. It premieres on May 20th. I've got the links up for the film. You can go and pre-order and get ready. I can assure you this is a film that not only are you going to want to see, but you need to see. And having the perspective of kids, that's the thing. Now, but here I am with a film director in the dark, Randall Nickerson. We tried to get it, everybody, during the break, and we just can't get his video running. So you guys can look at my mug tonight and just picture Randall sitting in the dark. He's actually there. Mm-hmm. But he's in the dark. And so I'll keep up on the screen just in case a miracle happens. Now, I live in Hollywood, Randall. I'm right here in the middle of I'm in the middle of it, and it's great. But one of the things about this community, which is Hollywood and Los Angeles and the San Fernando Valley and every film production company is here. All the actors are here. Everything is here. Which means it doesn't matter what your job is, you're a film critic, right? Everybody here, man. And my gardener knows more about screenwriting, right? And it's just amazing. It's great. I love it. But we all also appreciate the art. And the way that this film is shot, I want to continue on day one of the event, because you are able to, in the film, you have access to all of the high res original footage that was shot back then. And you can see the expanse in widescreen of this area of the school. And you are able to capture that. And then you go back today and also frame this the same way. And you now have the tools to artistically present a pretty cinematic film. Did you do that by intention instead of taking a documentary approach to it, and instead took this beautiful cinematic approach?
Yeah, I just love nature and wildlife. I mean, that's really what got me started in film and cameras. And so when I looked at the story, I was looking at it from that kind of same perspective. Like, oh, this is just a different form of wildlife, and it affected human beings. Um, and it took place in Africa. So Africa actually is a big character in the film.
That's right.
Because to me, when I first went there, I was like, I felt like I was on another planet. I mean, it was like Jurassic Park over there. And it's a very stunning place. Not always the safest, but stunning what you see there. And so I wanted to show that as it's just an incredible backdrop.
What went through your mind when these kids, one after another, described some pretty strange movement with these two entities, bodies, species, whatever you want to say, race of aliens that were in front of them? The way that they described the movements, the way they walked,
Mm-hmm.
the speed, the way that it affected them visually,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty bizarre. We've all heard different encounters from witnesses around the world. We hear it all the time. What happened in Zimbabwe with these children was certainly different. What did you make of that description of movement?
I thought it was, from doing other research into other cases, I found it similar as far as behavior.
Well,
I mean, it was unique in the fact that these creatures were in black. That's a rather unique report. I did research into it. I only found 3 others like that in Africa.
Right.
And they were back in the 1960s. Am I answering your
No,
your question? I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, you can answer any way you want. I don't know how to ask a question, but but yeah, you're right. What I was going at, they were describing it moving from side to side very quickly, but in slow motion.
Right.
And almost dancing sometimes, and this very erratic. And for children to have a description like that, they didn't get that from TV, right? This is something they actually saw.
It's really unique. I mean, there's a few others like this case where the descriptions are the same. Oh, by the way, they didn't dance. just to make, they didn't do dance.
That was my word. I was trying to be funny, but
well, okay. I just wanted to get the factual information down.
Nobody was dancing. But yeah, they described running in slow motion, but yet it was fast. That's a weird thing to say, right? To put it all in one sentence. It's just one set of paradoxes. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think what's been reported in these incidents, similar ones I've looked at, has been the distortion of time. And in my mind, I don't know how else you can do that other than controlling gravity, which is apparently what they were watching. This craft completely defying gravity, but also I don't understand the physics of it. I don't. I do understand the reports of it. yeah, it's time. Time. They have control of time on a. I don't know how large a scale, but I believe that they do have power over time. And then you also have the emotional stuff from a human being, right? When you get in a car accident, time slows down. When you're in a trauma like that situation was traumatic for several. Um, the closer you were, I would say, and time slows down when you're confronted with something that is totally brand new or is potentially dangerous to your life.
Right.
That's the human psychology. So when we talk about this stuff, it's like, well, there's the human psychology of your experience, and then it's also whatever these things, I call them creatures, um, can manipulate. Yeah.
The we had there was a wide range of ages,
Yes.
right? And
6 to 15.
yeah, and and so the younger kids. I want to bring up the sound. That's okay,
Mhm.
but the younger kids who will run for no reason, right? So they see this, they take off running. Older kids are going to kick back and walk over, right? Okay, that's that's just the nature of what's going on. But the older kids described hearing something first, and that's what forced them to look up into the sky. And how they described what they heard, I'll let you
Well, when it was in when it was in the sky, they didn't hear that sound. When it came down, on the outskirts of their playground, that's when they heard the noise. It was closer. I guess I can only assume that they heard it when it was on the ground.
Okay.
I don't think it land. I don't even know what it did. I think it was just people say it didn't set down. So
Yeah, I might be referring to some other footage of the interviews that I have seen that weren't in the film.
Oh, okay.
Which is fine. But I remember a witness saying that he, and I think it was two. There was a boy and a girl, two separate interviews. One described it as like symphonic. There was some kind of music thing
that
that
sounded like a flute.
There was that too. Now, was that from a boy or a girl?
That was from two girls.
Two girls. Okay, I remember. Right, and I
I
remember a boy saying he thought he heard a symphony. Right, and so you're right. And then we had the flute description, and then we had somebody else describe it as a very high pitched. What was
Noise.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel that they were all describing the same thing.
Well, I think they were, to be honest with you, I think they were describing two things because the one of the witnesses said it sounded like a mechanical bee sound.
Yeah, bee sound. Right,
Yeah.
right. That was it. That was
And
it.
then the other ones were saying, well, it sounded like the sounds you'd hear from a electrical station, this buzzing sound. And then there's an experience of that really high pitched sound. They're different. Because I think everybody heard the buzzing noise. I'll just say that.
And the buzzing noise was when it was on the ground.
And it was low frequency.
Right. And the symphonic thing, whatever whatever they were hearing, was when it was in flight. Right. Because that's what I remember. One of the kids saying he heard the music and he looked up and there it was flying through the sky over the school.
Oh, was that in the film?
I don't know.
Okay, Luke, that would have been they were playing soccer out there and one of his friends pointed up to the sky.
Right, right. And so and my point being that it wasn't just on the ground that
No, it was in the air before.
Yeah, the craft was seen flying across the sky and then landed in the trees behind the field.
Correct. Yep.
And here's, I'm going to stay right on this. How long from beginning to end was the entire event?
The consensus from the headmaster and from the children, some of the children, is 15 minutes.
William H. just said, I have no idea what I'm talking about. This guy. I know everything about this case. I could go deeper. I just don't want to. I want everybody to go and watch this film. Okay, so we haven't even gotten to the extraordinary work of John Mack. But here's the part of this case that has always freaked me out over the years, is that these kids described being stared at.
Mm-hmm.
And as a parent, and I think back as a child, how I would have been affected by that. But as a parent, having your child stared at, and the way that these kids described a motionless being just looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
How did that affect you?
Hearing that?
Yes.
Or, yeah, I mean, that was the pinnacle of that encounter, really, was when they were in direct eye contact with that creature.
Yeah. How did that affect you?
When I knew that?
Yeah, I mean, when these kids are describing big black eyes just staring at them and they don't know what's going on, that's traumatic.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I care about them, I care about what they've been through. I this, as I continue to work on it and meet the adult kids, late 20s, early 30s, and realize their story hasn't changed. They're still the same, telling the same story, and they remember it like it was yesterday.
How many you went and visited with the teacher, the original headmaster of the school from back in the day? Where's he at? Were you able to reach out to him?
I was, and he, I don't, I didn't feel like I really needed to interview him because I had, and when I contacted him, he did say to me, he said, I think I said everything I need to say. And he wasn't interested in doing an interview at the time. And I agree with him, actually. He did say everything he needed to say in the archival.
Now, when the drawings start to present themselves and the stories start to present themselves, and these students are being interviewed separately by multiple individuals, you had the MUFON investigator come in, locally, international MUFON investigator. You've got the teachers at the school. You certainly have parents involved. This is all before John Mack gets to town. The MUFON investigator gets drawings done immediately, and I'm so thankful that actually happened early on, before things start to get polluted, where these kids are hanging out, they're talking with each other, the rumors, the playground, the drama, right? You have that entire soap opera going on, and memories start to get jarred. But MUFON stepped in and was able to do this very, very early. What did you make of the consistency individually of the students, not only with the drawings, but their actual testimony of the events?
I think the MUFON investigator, she put it in exactly the words I would put it. It was like everybody drew from their own perspective, It was a very large playground. I mean, there were people that were hundreds of feet away, and there were people that were very close up toward the edge. So the drawings, and it depends on how old the child is, how creative they are, how well they can draw. That I found interesting, because it's really what at that time, what their perceptions were. Some people saw some things that others didn't. Do you know what I mean? Detail wise. And that's what the MUFON investigator said is, if you know, when you have that many people see the same thing, and they all have just a little bit of a different story, that means it's real. Because otherwise they'd get, you know what I mean, they'd, get together and stick to the same story. And it wasn't like that. The witnesses individually experienced something different, you know.
Well, then the BBC rolls into town. And again, a great synchronicity, because it allowed things to continue to be documented.
Mm-hmm.
And the BBC's interviewing everybody that they can. I've always felt that, and I would love your take on this, that the journalist for the BBC wasn't as skeptical as the camera guy, right? Who didn't want to be there.
No, he started off really skeptical.
Really skeptical.
Yeah,
That's
really
what I'm
skeptical. Yeah.
So
yeah.
So things were shot and approached differently in the beginning, right?
Yeah. They didn't believe the kids in the
no,
beginning. Yeah.
not at all, not at all. What did you make of that? Is that bad journalism? Don't you need to remain objective? You just don't know where the story's going to go.
People don't really remain too objective on this topic.
They don't.
It's pretty interesting, but I mean, I think they approached it in the way, when the BBC's interviewing the kids, he's like, "You sure it wasn't an airplane? You sure it wasn't the Zimbabwe military?" He was trying to find every possible explanation for what they saw, and the kids were like, "Nope, that wasn't it." So.
Well, and here is this is one of the strongest reasons to watch the film. And it's not, yeah, of course you've got UFOs, you've got contact, you've got alien beings, you got kids, you got stories, you've got drawings and testimony. It's fantastic. It's an amazing case. But what was his name? The photographer for the BBC?
Tim Leach.
Yeah. Okay. So Tim was, you have to see the film to appreciate what was going on. Africa at that time was nuts. Mm-hmm. From coast to coast, north to south, east to west. It's drama, crazy civil drama was going down. Mortifying, insane drama. And to be a photographer shooting that for the BBC, that is something that is going to affect you mentally for the rest of your life. Yeah. So that's who is coming in to Ariel, a hardened individual that has been watching people with machetes out there. You know what I mean? Civil War. And he goes into Ariel and it's like, UFOs, what? And you get to watch the transition of Tim from before and after, and the mental challenges that he went through. I think it's an extraordinary contribution on your part.
Yeah, I want to put a shout out because Tim passed away in 2011.
Right.
I really wish he was here to see this film. But yes, when somebody sees a lot of war like that, and death and horror, it really does affect your mind. I was thinking of getting into war photography, but I knew too many war photographers, and I didn't want to do that to myself personally.
Sure.
But, I put, Tim had, he had seen a lot, and when he got to Ariel, that just blew his mind. He just didn't think it was possible.
It affected him so much that he had a total backdoor too, by the way, a long shot of reaching out to John Mack over in Harvard, which he chose to do. Yeah. Thankfully, John Mack responded, didn't he?
He did, and that was amazing. I mean, the timing, it was very synchronistic in a lot of ways that happened, because he was a very busy man, John Mack, and he made time for that. And I think when he saw the drawings, that piqued his interest, and I think he may have seen some of the initial video also from some of the reporters. Yeah.
As you got access to John Mack's material, what started to go through your mind and his approach to this?
I have a lot of respect for him as a human being, because I think he did the best he could at the time. His approach to Ariel and the larger subject matter. I just have a lot of respect for somebody who really looked at this carefully and realized there was something to it that wasn't easily explained by all these things they're trying to tell, over the years, that these people are schizophrenic, anybody that's seen a UFOs, blah, 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 that whole stigma. He challenged that. He's like, well, there's something going on here, and then he put his reputation on the line. I mean, that's a fine human being who will do that. They're rare.
No question about it. And here's the question. It's like the $1 million question. John Mack is, with his therapy and the stuff that he was doing over in the States, certainly things happened that changed his mind about the phenomenon. No question about it. But he was also dealing with adults, Randall. He's got to now go to Ariel and use his same expertise, but now he's dealing with kids. And that's a whole nother approach, dealing with children. As you looked at the footage, did you feel that he was a fish out of water is what I'm saying? He had to do the best that he had, with kids on a very sensitive subject, but John wanted information from them. And how do you do it without freaking kids out and giving them nightmares for the rest of their lives? Right?
Well,
what did you think his approach?
Well, John was I'm not sure what the proper term is. He was a child psychologist for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
He had worked with kids. And I think that's why his interviews, they trusted him, because he made him feel safe, made him feel calm enough to share. I think him coming from researching this topic for so long, a couple of years anyway, that he already knew what the scenario was likely to be, I just, after all the people he had worked with, when he went there, he was looking for very specific things for the reality of it. And
Right. We're going to continue this right where we are leaving off. Let's get our break in. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Randall Nickerson is with us. His new film is Ariel Phenomenon. It does its world premiere in 2 days on May 20th. More with Randall when we come back after this short break. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and this year, June 18th, 2022, the Disclosure Fest Foundation presents the Mass Meditation Initiative. It's Saturday, June 18th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., one day only at the Los Angeles State Historic Park in downtown Los Angeles, California, right next to Chinatown. I'm hosting the event again this year with music performances by Trevor Hall, The Desert Dwellers, Horangi, and many, many more on 4 separate stages. There's 16 stages in total, over 30 acres in downtown Los Angeles, with vendors and tents and presentations and workshops with Billy Carson, Adam Apollo, Lori Spagna, Laura Eisenhower, Brad Olson, David Palmer, and many, many more. It's all simple to do. Just go to disclosurefest.org for all of your tickets, information, and a full schedule of the day's events. Again, disclosurefest.org. You want to be an official Fade or Not? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fade or Nots. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Randall Nickerson is with us. His new film is called Ariel Phenomenon. We've got the links up for the film, not only over on our website, but throughout social media. You can pre-order the film now. You can go to arielphenomenon.com and check things out over there. And the premiere is in 2 days. You excited, Randall? I mean... when you have a personal journey like this presented on the screen, that's something pretty heavy for the audience. Are you prepared for the way that this film is going to affect people?
I know how it affects me. I mean, every time I watch it, I have a hard time not shedding a little tear, you know?
Yeah, it's a heavy film. One of the let's shift gears a little bit. I want to stay on subject and talk about John Mack, but everything folds back in very neatly with everything. One of the families immediately after the incident happened just packed up and left, and they went back to Canada, right?
Right, that's correct.
And the daughter's name was?
Emily.
Emily. And how did you find Emily and decide to approach the film the way that you did with her? And we'll talk about that, but how did that come about?
Well, when I first started researching the story, I got this email from this woman, Emily, and it was kind of she said, I still have the email. What are you doing with my story or our story? Something like that. And I was like, oh boy, I pushed some buttons here. And then, God, it was probably 5 years later that we talked on the phone, and I wanted to interview her. And when I interviewed her, I just knew right away, like, this is the person I need to follow, you know? And, you know, there were plenty of people to follow, but that was the one that, I don't know, she affected me.
Why did her family decide to just pack up and leave Zimbabwe and go back to Canada?
I think it had to do with that incident, and I'm sure it did.
Well, yeah, I know it had to do with the incident, but why? Was it the publicity? Was it their children? Was it the way it was affecting them?
I think it was the way it was affecting them. Yeah.
The kids or the parents?
The kids.
Yeah. And
my personal opinion. Yeah.
That's your personal opinion. What did Emily say? Does she remember why they just packed up and left?
Yeah. She not only did she say it, other people had told me that they had left because of the effects on the kids after that incident.
Was she able to? Because we see in the film, you know, she returns back to Ariel, but while she grew up since 1994, you know, back in Canada, did she have contact with anybody back at Ariel, or was she isolated from the incident?
She was very isolated from the incident. She had a couple friends still, but she was really disconnected from it, you know, I think initially. Can I say something? Emily was amazing. She's such an amazing artist, and I just there's so many people to just thank for doing, you know, taking the risk. And she did. And so many other kids did. And I just have to, without them, I couldn't have done this, you know?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
And the reason why, I mean, these are all very important questions, and you only have so much time to address them in the film, but we are able to expand on the thought process here in this form. And so what you do get to see, if she's isolated from her friends and she is cut off because of her parents and pulling her out of the country, you know, and back to Canada, all she has is her memory.
Yeah.
That's all she's got. And you're right. So she gets into fine art. She gets into painting. She's an extraordinary artist. And she paints about this incident from her memory. And it's presented well in the film, but I don't think that we fully understand why. Right. And that's just amazing to me that she was just completely cut off and wasn't able to deal with this crazy emotional trauma by talking it out with her friends and everybody else. She's removed from that. And her only therapy is through a paintbrush.
That's true. In my opinion, that I saw that. And yeah, she, you know, you deal with the things the way you the best way you can. And that was hers.
Now, when were you with her on the plane flight?
Yeah.
Okay, I know it was shot, you know, so I don't know if you can remember. But so what was that like? I mean, she just must have it's been going through every emotion that one can have on that plane flight over. And you were watching that. What was that like?
I felt like I was yeah, literally watching someone walk into their past, with all the emotions to it. I mean, it was like, I mean, it had everybody's full attention, because she wasn't doing anything for the movie. She was just, that was all real. That was all real.
Yeah, well, you're playing part of the observer. So what were you thinking?
Well, I don't know if I was crying at that time.
Right.
There's times you're behind the camera and you're seeing something so beautiful and something so pure and honest from
Right.
a human being sometimes, or an animal or whatever, and it just you get affected. So I was affected many, many times on this film. And a lot of times I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm like, oh my God, it's actually true.
Yeah, totally. And when you see the audience is going to see this, you get to see Emily as a child speaking about this. Her original drawings that she did, which was absolutely crazy town, Randall, right?
Yeah, totally.
And then you see her as an adult. She didn't change much, right? She's the same person. 20 years have gone by and she looks exactly the same, and she still has that childhood wonderment about her. And I thought that was just amazing. But you get to see that in the film. You're going back in time and then coming back into the now with her throughout the film.
Yeah. I that's her gift, she still has her child. I think that's why, in my opinion, like, her art is so amazing,
When you guys arrived at Ariel, she gets out of the car, and she gets this. I would love to go back to my junior high school out today and experience that, but she does, and you capture that on film. But for you, knowing the events that went down at Ariel, when you turned around and you looked at the field, and you now knew in the direction where this craft came down at, did you relive it in your own mind, and did you imagine this craft landing and what the kids saw?
Well, I was there before alone, my first visit to the school. So when I was there, yeah, that was a moment, of just finding out from the teachers that were there and the people that were there where it was. And I walked that land. I walked that whole school, the entire playground. I mean, I spent a day out there just trying to understand the physics, or who was where it was, where were the kids. And then I started mapping out where different kids were and all that stuff, and their reports or their testimony. And it was a moment, that's for sure. And particularly going up to the area where it was, with the headmaster, and and then to bring Emily and to watch her go through an even more intense experience, because she was there, she saw it. So watching that was like, it was an honor. I felt honored to be there to film it. A lot of times in this movie, I felt honored, like, oh, wow, to be able to film what is happening here is just an honor as a camera person.
Why do you think it was a school that ET chose a schoolyard to land at? Surely you've thought about this 1,000 times.
Well, I went to the one in England that had happened too, in Wales. And that was part of the research I did, was like, okay, this happened in Wales in 1977.
Happened in Westall, Australia in 1967.
That was too far away from me. And somebody else was doing that story. Thank God. He did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's probably 8 that I'm aware of around the world.
That's right. Yeah.
So I don't know why. It's very interesting. Like, it's something that's kind of an unexplored area of the phenomena. So I don't really know the answers to that. I'm very curious. I mean, a lot of people say to me, like, well, they went to the kids because kids are impressionable, and when they grow up, they're gonna tell people what happened to them. And, what's interesting is a lot of the kids have great careers, and they do tell their friends, and that seeps into humanity, I don't know. I've heard that, and I wonder about that. I think about that a lot.
And
Why?
here's the other question. I am sure that Emily and any other kid there as an adult has to think about, holy crap, how close was I to being abducted? I mean, you are right. And it goes without saying, we've all had experiences growing up where you were around the wrong person and you just got lucky that nothing happened. Right? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Been there.
Yeah, straight. So have I.
Yeah.
And I got lucky. And so did those kids. There were 60 of them standing at that tree line, looking eyeball to eyeball with two alien beings that parked their craft there, and nobody got abducted. That's the other big why.
Yeah.
And do these kids realize how lucky? I mean, maybe abduction is a good experience. I don't know. I haven't been abducted, but for some, I can imagine it's a traumatizing experience. But none of the kids went through that, did they?
To be honest with you, I don't know. This thing took place for 15 minutes, according to multiple people. So I really don't know how to explain all that time, to be honest. In my I was just looking at it, like everything that happened. So I have questions, but I didn't push that on any of these kids at all. I didn't, I only wanted, and I still do, I only want them to come and tell me what they remember, what really happened to them.
Are you suggesting, let me stop you right there, Randall. Are you suggesting that as you looked at this and you went through the data and the material, that there's a possibility that there might have been some missing time and maybe somebody was abducted for a short period? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just, what I'm saying is I don't know. It's a question, the amount of time that went by. But I really don't know. I mean, that's the problem with these things is, these encounters is, how people perceive it and what they remember and don't remember, but I didn't find any clues that somebody was abducted or anything. I didn't find that.
Okay.
I just was questioning the amount of time that went by and saying, well, if that amount of it, what happened in all that time? I knew what they did, and I knew where they went, and when they ran screaming to the teachers. Yeah, I don't think that took 15 minutes. That's where I have a problem. So whatever, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, these are all questions. These are all questions that we have, because you have to stop and just picture that there's 60 kids approximately standing there observing this craft being stared at back for 15 minutes. What's everybody doing?
Mm-hmm.
And now nobody suggested anything that they went up and shook hands and did chest bumps. That that didn't happen. Which takes me to this is where, for me, things get really interesting. When you look at all of the evidence and the MUFON interviews, the staff, the John Mack, the drawings, the modern interviews that many of these students as adults have given recently about this. When you look at all of this, there is a consistency there, and the story could have been blown out of proportion, could have elevated, could have changed, and it didn't. Right? Nobody got abducted. Nobody touched the aliens. Nobody did this. None of that. The story itself, in its fundamental form, is exactly as it was in 1994. And that was what John Mack put together. And did you feel the same way as you look at this in 2021? You've been working on this project for a while, but when you look at it, you see a very consistent event.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah, very much. Very much. I mean, you can't put, I mean, I guess the thing that really strikes me, I mean, you can see the truth in the kids' eyes when they're telling you these stories in the archival. And then when you interview them today, when I interviewed them, that same look in their eyes, they were just remembering and looking at me and telling me the truth. There was no BS in there at all. And it wasn't, their stories didn't change at all. You know, there was nothing added, nothing taken away. That's incredible. You know what I mean? That's a real story. That's a real people being honest.
Now, what's your, we'll come back after the break and continue, but did the event happen as we think that it did? Did an alien craft not of this planet land in a schoolyard in Zimbabwe?
Judging from all the witnesses' testimony and everybody I've heard, I'd say absolutely yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Now,
I wasn't there, but I can tell you, I talked to so many people that I think that's what happened.
And now let's swing back to Tim as we start to resolve all of this, and we'll get back to John Mack after the break. Tim was absolutely changed as a human being. 100%. He was different before Ariel and then after the experience.
That's true.
Do you feel that it was in a good way? And do you think that the BBC handled it the right way and his co-workers and the rest of the industry?
I mean, Tim had a really hard time he was shot. A lot of his friends were killed during war reporting in different places in Rwanda and Liberia, and all these different locations around Africa he was sent to. I don't know. I think, maybe Ariel just blew his mind. I don't know if it helped him in the end, because he'd seen so much trauma and, terrifying things. And I do know it affected him for sure in a big way.
Well, and in 1994, 1995, 1996, during the aftermath of Ariel, you weren't allowed to professionally, if you're on a career path, talk about UFOs. He wanted to, right? And his correspondence back to the BBC was just, hey, man, this was a real incident. You guys need to pay attention. That's the wrong thing you want to do, right?
Right.
But he chose to do that, didn't he?
He did it, and he was angry how he was treated. He was really angry when I interviewed him. He was just he went on talking about how the news agencies and they don't really want to show you what it's really like, the war. Now we're actually seeing real war pictures on TV. Back then, they edited all that out. And he said it's the same with UFOs. They don't want to show you. They don't want to tell you that it's actually going on. Those are his words. He was really angry how he was treated, but he did the right thing. He stood up. He said, "This is real," and the BBC, just thought he was smoking the wacky weed.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
And now with John Mack, we've got about 4 minutes before the break.
Sure.
John Mack, collects this footage, and as there was a transition for John, I think as I've probably watched 16 hours of his footage that I have. I'm sure there's much more, but I've got a lot of it. Wow. And I watched a transition with John from the public. What do you want to call that? A town hall, right? They got everybody together there in Ruwa.
Yes, town hall.
And he was trying to calm everybody's nerves, because everybody was this was everybody in town was talking about it. They were concerned, and he had done his best as a psychologist and somebody that understands the mind, how to calm everybody down. But as time moved on, there was this transition with him where he started to feel that these kids were now talking to each other. And he was definitely having to force his questions into getting the singular things out of each student.
That's true. Yeah, he did. That's correct. Yeah, he did that town hall meeting for the parents and not just the parents, everybody in town. That place was packed. It's not that big of a town. And then he went into to interview them some more, as and did it the right way. Not everybody did. Not everybody had separated them and really sat down with them for an hour and got to the bottom of it. John did. Yeah.
And what do you think John's conclusions are? I know you can't put words in. He's not with us anymore, too. But when he left Zimbabwe, what do you think he was thinking?
I think he even till the last time I saw him, which was right before his death, I think he thought that it was real, but he didn't understand exactly what its nature was. There was no question in his mind that it was real. It's just what was it coming from? That was his drive. In my opinion, he was driven to find the answers. That's who he was.
Yeah, I interviewed Ralph Blumenthal about John Mack.
Yeah.
And the one I'm going to have Ralph on the show next week or the week after.
Oh, great.
He's going to be back with. He's just the best. He's so much in the last 4 years. His life has definitely changed. But I know that only John Mack knows. I know that John did too much research. And as he was collecting this information and going through these sessions and interviewing so many different people, he found one little thing that was consistent across the spectrum. I just don't know what that was. But whatever it was convinced him that the phenomenon was real, that these people were not making it up.
That's correct. And it was multiple, I mean, hundreds of people that
hundreds
that had the specific details that nobody knows about that stuff.
And it went with him. And it went with him. He crossed that street in England, and that's it. And we'll never know.
Yeah.
But he took that methodology to Ariel, right? So now there was some little thing that, and he's an artist, man. He knows what he's doing. And he found that little kernel, right? That little nugget with each one of these children. And that's what he was really good at. And we'll never know what that was. But yeah, I think he was convinced it was real.
I think it's in the footage. There's little snippets of little details that there's no way. I mean, and it's the same way with other people around the world, that there's no way they could have known that, and then have somebody else repeat it from another side of the world that speaks a different language and understands a different culture, but they're describing the same thing. That's what he found.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Randall Nickerson. We are talking about Ariel Phenomenon. It's his new film documentary. It is out on May 20th about the Ariel School UFO event in Zimbabwe. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, the X.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Unex Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNXDB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of Forbidden Knowledge, and we're heading to Egypt this October. Come join Jimmy Church, myself, and the Forbidden Knowledge team as we spend a week exploring Giza, the Great Sphinx, the Great Pyramid, Saqqara, Dashur, Aswan, Edfu, Dendara, Karnak, and we'll celebrate Jimmy's birthday in Luxor. The Forbidden Tour of Egypt is this October 5th through the 12th and includes a 4-day Nile cruise, expert Egyptologists, and a chance to explore Egypt with Jimmy and I as your host through your journey of a lifetime. Space is limited, so make your reservations now. Please visit forbiddenknowledge.com for information and complete itinerary. That's forbiddenknowledge.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and this year, June 18th, 2022, the Disclosure Fest Foundation presents the Mass Meditation Initiative. It's Saturday, June 18th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., one day only at the Los Angeles State Historic Park in downtown Los Angeles, California, right next to Chinatown. I'm hosting the event again this year with music performances by Trevor Hall, The Desert Dwellers, Poran Gi, and many, many more on 4 separate stages. There's 16 stages in total, over 30 acres in downtown Los Angeles, with vendors and tents and presentations and workshops with Billy Carson, Adam Apollo, Lori Spagna, Laura Eisenhower, Brad Olson, David Palmer, and many, many more. It's all simple to do. Just go to disclosurefest.org for all of your tickets, information, and a full schedule of the day's events. Again, disclosurefest.org.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, director Randall Nickerson is with us. This new film is called Ariel Phenomenon, and it's an example of the hero's journey. That's exactly what it is, man. You set out, you do your thing in the middle, and you come back in the end, and hopefully you have resolved things. And that's exactly what this film does. And Randall, the other part of this is attempting to achieve closure. Do you think that happened with Emily?
Probably not yet. I don't know. It takes a long time. I mein, when I interviewed some of the native shamans in Africa that had encounters like this, I asked him, how do you heal? How do you fix it? Or, and he said, it takes decades. And I think he's right. Decades and decades. He said it took him 20 years to get over it, to have a place to put it and to really kind of wrap his head around it,
Yeah, and Tim isn't here to achieve closure through the film.
No.
It'd be great if he was. And same thing with John Mack, of course. But what about yourself and your own personal journey? Did this help you get to some sort of closure?
Sure. On some level, I would say so. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, closure's never done with this topic or this experience. But you grow and learn. I think the big thing for me is I wanted to find out, as much as possible, who knew, who knows. And we saw it. We saw it yesterday, right? Was the Senate hearing?
Did you watch it?
I did. Yeah, I watched it several times, and
Let me before I. Did you watch it live?
I did.
Yeah, so did I. Going back and getting sound bites and things, which is fine. Not everybody. I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning. After doing a broadcast the night before, but watching it live is totally different. So you watched it live, and going through your own personal experiences and your own journey, which is what brings you into this community for sure. And this film is now in release or about to be released. This is all happening at the same time, and then you go through the UFO hearing yesterday. That's a lot going on at the same time, isn't it? And certainly for you personally.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. But I found it very interesting I'm glad they're stepping up and doing something. There were some pretty serious people there today or yesterday at that meeting. So yeah, I'm encouraged that someday we'll be able to openly talk about this.
Well, I think we are now, and here's the thing. We can hear from the Department of Defense and intelligence officials and agencies and whatever. That which is fine. I applaud that and invite that. It's a whole nother thing to bring you and Emily on and talk about Ariel, right? Shouldn't Capitol Hill, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, shouldn't they be talking to us? Shouldn't they be talking to you?
Probably so, but they're it's part of their job to not panic the public, so to speak. And I think their concern revolves around that. But yeah, that's what it bothers me, because there's so much knowledge, from people that have passed away. And I know several people, boy, they should be testifying before a congressional committee because of what they know. I mean, what they've experienced, what they've seen themselves, that would be helpful to their UAP program, and to actually deal with some of what, answer some of the questions of what we're looking at. There are a lot of people that can do that, and a lot of them won't come forward because they're scared.
No, I disagree with you. Okay. I totally disagree. And you know why?
Yeah.
Why I disagree? Because of what happened yesterday. Things like what went down yesterday now puts this purely in the public domain now.
I think you're right. Yeah.
This is out and being discussed, which allows a film like yours to be watched with a different set of eyes, Randall.
That's great.
Your film coming out 20 years ago, it's just another film that is only going to be watched in the inside of the tinfoil hat, right, fringe community.
Sure.
Now your film is going to be appreciated to a wider audience that now accepts that they can watch this and discuss this and not get teased.
Right.
And that's where we are at today. And that's why yesterday was so important. For anybody that says, Randall, I'm going to be this is why I'm going to disagree with you. And I'm not here to debate, but here's the thing. For anybody that will say, oh, yesterday was nothing, they simply do not understand. They don't understand the importance of what went down yesterday, because today it's being discussed. Yesterday you saw it live, Blue Book, ET, extraterrestrials, Malmstrom Air Force Base, right? The Davis Wilson docks, aliens, contact were all mentioned and discussed on Capitol Hill. Holy crap. That's never happened. Ever. And I was astounded by that. And all that does is open up the door to further discussion. And for those out there that are angry about it, right? That's what you need to have happen. You can't say like Burchett, right? Representative Burchett, or anybody else come out after the fact and go, well, that was great. Well, then there's no need to do this anymore. You have to come out and say that wasn't enough. So it happens again. You follow my methodology here?
I do. Yep, that's true. We got to keep coming forward. People got to keep coming forward. That's how we're going to resolve this, I believe.
Did you know? Did you know that the hearings were going to happen 3 days before the release of your film?
No. I mean, I was told maybe a month ago by somebody that was at the hearing that something was coming up, and I usually get a heads up, and this person would not share with me what it was, so I knew it was big because we're close, and then all of a sudden I heard last week, I'm like, you got to be kidding me, and she told me that this would be a good time to release your film. Not that I was releasing anyway. I mean, you know what I mean? Nothing changed, but I couldn't believe that happened.
Oh, it's great timing, man.
It's like synchronicity, like
yeah. Well,
it has nothing to do with me.
Synchronicity is so overused, right?
Yeah, that's the word.
But synchronicity is wonderful. And it's always the universe winking on you. So now, okay, so let's get back on track here.
Okay.
When we have the work of John Mack revisited in this film and presented again, it was so important. And you know what? It almost got away from us. That's why this film is so great, that we are able to go back and look at this and see this. Very important. But the work of John Mack and others about the contact and abduction phenomenon is the part that isn't being discussed on Capitol Hill, right? And we those voices need to be heard, don't they?
Yes, they do. I think the Capitol Hill is taking it really slowly as far as public. I would love to have been in the Minority Report meeting at noon, the one after the end of the
classified. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the real discussion, I'm sure. Yeah.
Do you remember I said this last night on the show, when Representative Welch is listening to the jaws flapping, right? Mm-hmm. And he just got things back on track and said, what about ET? Right? What about extraterrestrials? What about them visiting this planet? That's what this hearing is about. Mm-hmm. And I've right. And then he said exactly what you just said right there, which was, okay, fine. You don't want to talk about it now, but are we going to talk about extraterrestrials visiting this Earth in the classified briefing that's going to follow this public hearing? And I thought, did that just happen? Right? The significance of that was that's beyond measure. Yeah. That was in a public forum by an elected official wants to know the truth about ET visiting this Earth. And if you can't say it now, are you going to talk to me about it in the classified briefing? That's a holy crap moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. There was a lot of those in that hearing that I was just, wow, I couldn't believe it was happening.
As a filmmaker and a documentarian, what you do, and of course, an experiencer yourself. There was a comment yesterday that I don't think we should let it get away from us, which was the misinformation and disinformation put out by amateur UFO groups, and that there should be deterrence on this, which is censorship, right?
Right.
What did you think of that as a member of the media and somebody that is trying to get this information out there? That's censorship. That's 1984, isn't it?
I did feel that way because one of the senators asked, should there be legal implications for these people? He was asking the Air Force or the DOD guy, and yeah, I mean, I felt like that's kind of the way they've been treating it the whole time, making people nervous that something's going to happen to them if they speak out about it. It was a little visit to the old days in a way.
It was. Burchett's, I want to stay on this. I'm so glad that you saw this yesterday. It was such a significant day. And from your position, as a filmmaker, yesterday just must have been so intriguing, which is Burchett's comment after the hearing when he said, man, this cover-up needs to end. And again, this is coming from an elected official that is obviously frustrated. He knows he's being lied to, right? He knows this. And he said, this cover-up has to end. This was just a charade. This has to end. Is there, in your opinion, is there a cover-up? Does the government know, United States government, do they know what's going on and they're just not telling us?
That's a hard question to answer straight. Well, I can tell you that I've met a lot of pilots. I've met a lot of people that know an awful lot about this because they're in the military and have known, and I've heard those stories. I'm not like a big conspiracy theory guy, but truth is not conspiracy in my mind when you hear it over time and time again. And I mean, I was told pretty directly, like, the reason it is not being the public is not aware is because of the fear of panic. And I heard that from more than, I can tell you, 3 very, very high-ranking people in the military. And I had to think about that for a while, like, I get what they're saying. And, part of the oath is to protect your country and, to protect yourself from other countries and those within your country, that's not the wording it's said, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But what is there to panic about?
Well, I guess that's the question.
What is there to panic about? Especially today in 2022, I don't think there's anybody that doesn't think that there's life out there in the universe and that we're being visited here. I think that's the general consensus of the planet. What's there to panic about?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and the other part, because you just made this film, these kids didn't panic, right? They didn't panic.
Well, they did in the end.
Well, no. Even in the beginning, I think they were excited.
Yeah,
but I don't think anybody was scared. I don't think
there were some scared. Yeah.
Ruwa didn't arm up, right? They didn't. There was, they didn't burn down the town. They didn't panic.
Okay, yeah, you're right. No, but the kids did. They definitely all at one point and I think it had to do with the sound this thing was making, and after that encounter with that creature, just took off to the teacher's room, and like 100 of them, and that's from the teacher herself, and came. They were terrified, but I think it was curiosity. Definitely. Children are very curious, and they'd never seen anything like that before.
Well, the kids were.
They'd seen elephants, and it's Africa. You see all kinds of things we never see.
Yeah.
And those kids are trained early because there's so many dangers in the wildlife. They're trained really early on how to identify things, so they can stay alive. But so this was a new creature on their land,
That's such a great point. Those kids have seen a lion chase down a gazelle. Right. Okay. That's pretty. For most of us, we would lose it. And, so no, I don't think that there was a fear. I don't think these kids ever felt threatened in a predator sense from what they witnessed. I think they were excited and they didn't understand it for sure. But nobody felt threatened, and nobody spoke about being threatened. So what's the big fear? I don't think that these kids represent that at all. And I think that they were totally honest in that. If they, seriously, Randall, if the threat narrative came out of those kids, that would have been amplified. It would have been amplified on the schoolyard. And the next thing you know, there were ray guns, and you know what I mean? And that never happened.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, their intention didn't seem benign,
What's the attitude of the town today? Do people remember it? Do they still talk about it?
Oh yeah. People all over Africa know about it, still talk about it.
What's the attitude?
It varies. Sometimes there's a little chuckle about it, but this was, everything's changed since, in the last 4 years. So it is a different time. And I'm sure people are looking at it much differently today in Zimbabwe and throughout Africa. But I found most people, to be honest, didn't have a doubt that it happened. I'd run into others too, but the majority, I was surprised. I was looking for people actually that had an alternate explanation. I really was. I was like, I want to find the guy that doesn't believe these kids. That was hard. That was really hard. And when I found him, he said he'd changed his mind. And I said, well, why? You were so adamant. Like, why did you change your mind? And he said it was the consistency in their reports.
Was that the teacher?
That was the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he said they're all making it up.
Yeah. I interviewed him later,
How old is he today?
I think he's about 60, early 60s, I'd say.
Okay. So he grew up and realized that the kids were just probably telling the truth.
Yeah. And it was funny because he actually didn't spend much time with the kids. He taught Shona, and with most of the, it was a very specific class for the village near the school.
Right.
And yeah. So anyway, it was a lot of dynamics going on.
I was so glad he wasn't on the cutting room floor. You could have very easily removed him from the film, but he made me angry, and I like that about a film. A film I need to be challenged. I don't want to sit there and agree with everything that I see. That's boring. But listening to him, and I thought to myself, you work at a school. And your attitude on the schoolyard is that kids don't tell the truth, right? And that not only about the UFO event, but he's just like, this is just what kids do, right? They just make everything up, and that's what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And it really made me angry. I'm glad that his part was left in the film. Now,
go ahead.
Yeah, in the short time that we have left, Randall, do you feel that the one subject that is on everybody's mind. Are we about to have true disclosure? Are these the days that we are in?
I believe so. I mean, I thought I'd, be dead and gone before this all came forward. But I do see enough things happening that, and we're not doing so well on this planet, realistically. And if there was any time it was gonna come out, now would be the time. And so I do think we're in that age, which is going to be known as an epic, a shift in our whole
everything.
Yeah. I don't even know what that looks like, but I think that's what's going on. And I hope so. We gotta, the one thing I really believe is, like, if you don't align, if you're out of alignment with the truth for too long, the truth is going to come back and show you what the truth is. You know what I mean? As far as what's real. And I don't know how long these things have been around, but the longer we ignore them, so to speak, or not know about them, that's the worse it is for us, because we're not operating in the way the universe is. There is other life out there.
There is other life out there. And your take on this is an interesting one, because I still am hopeful that the lessons learned after a 2-year pandemic of, every country on this planet being affected by this economically and death and sickness and everything else, and the cultural divides that came out of this, that we would in the end mature just a little bit and learn how to love each other just a little bit more, and that we could understand that we are all earthlings. We're not that different, right? We're all the same. And I'm still hopeful for that. And that as we start to, I think that we all know that the pandemic in the general sense is over, and now we can start to look at the future now.
Yeah.
And you're right. What a great opportunity, right? Then to have disclosure happen now. It's perfect. Now, is that by design? Right? Let's go to synchronicities and coincidence, right?
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. I do. What perfect timing for this.
I agree. Yeah.
Great conversation tonight, Randall.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you so much for
good luck. Now, look, this is the deal. Look, I'm just telling you right now. I'm going to get you back on the show, and we're going to talk about you. So just get ready. I'm just telling you, you're going, no, yes, it is. It's going to happen. And I look forward to that conversation, Randall. Enjoy the next couple of days. It's going to be a big day on the 20th, and the whole world needs to see this film. Thank you so much for making it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Great conversation. Thank you so much. And the links for Randall are right there in social media. We've got it over on our website. Everything is available. You can pre-order now. The film is called Ariel Phenomenon. You can go to arielphenomenon.com as well. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to take a quick break and come back. I'm going to grab some of your phone calls. 747-228-2051. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can, right now, get your free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, the X.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? UNX Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You're Tom, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. The film is an amazing film. Randall Nickerson put a lot of emotion into it. You have a great combination of things. You do have, truly, you have the hero's journey from a few different perspectives. But as a documentary, you also get all of the archival footage and John Mack and the other stuff that took part historically back then at that time. And so you get all of that in the film. It's a tremendous watch. I've seen it 3 times now. and he's right. You get to the end, and you just can't help but be affected by everything and how these individuals were affected personally. It's a tremendous film. So it premieres on May 20th, and again, the links for it are throughout social media, and you can also go over to jimmychurchradio.com. We've got the links right there, and go. I can't wait to hear from all of you after you have seen the film. I have opened up the phone lines. I haven't done this in a while. We've done a lot of overtime. 747-228-2051. We just couldn't get the video side of things happening tonight, and it was a struggle that started before the show, and we got close, but it just never happened. And now I'm all used to it, and so are you. But there you go. It's like old school radio. I should have taken myself off of the screen, and that's it. You would have just had the audio up there. But nonetheless, what a great conversation. I want to thank Randall for coming in tonight. And I can't wait for yours and the rest of the world's reaction to this great film. Okay. All right. With that, 747-228-2051. I've got calls on hold. Let's see who is up first. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Lafayette Jimmy from Corte Militia, California.
How are you, Lafayette?
How you doing, Jimmy? I have a prediction. It's just from a dream, but it's kind of rowdy. I think the white lady was in my dream. It's at possible terrorism at the EDC in Las Vegas this weekend.
Say what? Okay. Okay. Hold on a minute here. What's the EDC?
Electronic Daisy Carnival.
Yeah, and most of the audience don't know what do I want to say? The spectacle that is EDC. So you were at EDC?
No. I had a dream a long time ago. Since I called your show, the tall whites have been showing up in my dreams.
Okay.
They usually show up as a group. And they're information peddlers or something I'm using in an occult bookstore. But this one was a single woman, and it was at a carnival in Las Vegas. And there wasn't any violence or anything, but there was like a showgirl crying, and everybody's looking at the neon. And then when my friend was telling me about the EDC, I go, man, I would want to go to that. And so also, like 6 years ago, the reason I claimed to be malicious is because I figured out a conspiracy and jammed it up by predicting it, and it didn't happen. But ever since then, people have been dying around me, Jimmy. My calls are somewhat dangerous.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm feeling pretty good so far.
Well, I mean, when you let out from Laughlin and were trailed by spooks and bands, that's a little message that your life's in danger.
Yeah, sort of. I would. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because my attitude's a little bit different, and which is this: if the man is not aware of this show, the man's not doing his job. It's that simple.
Well, absolutely.
It's that simple. So I would expect at least some sort of observation and contact. I would expect that. Why not?
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Why not?
I'm sure there's hybrids. I'm sure there's hybrids at the UFO conferences telepathically pushing ideas as well. Just like the Air Force spooks show up at UFO conferences.
Sure. And I'm sure they're at every one.
Yep.
Now, the question is, are they there to just observe? Are they there to just hear what the community is talking about? Are they there for something more gnarly, like maybe spread disinformation, maybe tell a story that wasn't true to somebody else? Because the stories do get traded, and the experiences, it's an open forum. And that's one of the wonderful things about a UFO conference is, man, anybody can talk about anything. Right. So last night, man, 2 reptilian women came into my room and I'm going to listen. Everybody does. So to that end, I would think, and I put some thought to this, that if an agency or two, or the Air Force or the Navy or whatever, are going to send somebody to a UFO conference, what's the reason why? I would think it's for this reason. People in the UFO community know stuff. They do, man. They've got their networks. They're communicating to people, and there is a wealth of information there that even the agencies would have a hard time collecting. Right. But if you go to a UFO conference and you're just rubbing elbows and you know, you're not in uniform, you don't have a badge that says Langley, Virginia, right? You're not walking around like that. You look like, and you look totally normal, and you're going to be able to hear things and then go back and go, you know what? There was this sighting over here. There was this that happened over here. There was a description of a craft. I saw a video, whatever. And you can collect information at these UFO conferences that you're not going to get anywhere else. So I think in a general sense, that's, why they are there. Is there some black eye thing behind it where they would be spreading misinformation? And that's gone down for sure. But I think in a general sense, it's to collect information. When, the big hacker conference in Las Vegas, and there's another one in New York, it's called Hope. But at the hacker conference where they play, Spot the Fed, right? Which I've played from time to time. And I watched a video. You can go and watch Spot the Fed videos on YouTube, and they're great. And I remember specifically this one, and they all blow my mind because the one that turns out to be from the Office of Naval Intelligence, right, or from what I mean, whatever, is the last one that you would suspect. So so they got like 8. So they do this with the audience, Lafayette. And the audience, okay, who do you think is a Fed? And the audience members stand up right there, okay, up on stage, right? And so they line up like 8 people, right? And one of them is a Fed. One, right? Well, maybe more than one. But you're watching the questioning, and they all get a T-shirt, right? I was picked as Spot the Fed. And then the winner gets I was spotted, right? and all I got was
this is arranged.
And so anyway, and they go through and they're eliminating, are you a Fed? No, I'm not. Okay, off the stage, and people are voting, people are looking, and it was just this. I'm serious too. Looked like to me, a former sorority party girl in college, now housewife, right? So picture that in your mind. The last thing that you would think is some counterintelligence, espionage, hacker agency person, right? And you're looking at her, and you're like, what? And I guarantee it. I just guarantee it. So to take that idea and put that over into a UFO conference, if somebody is there, you just wouldn't know. You're walking by these people. The ones that look fed aren't fed. Right?
Sure, that's part of their job.
Yeah. So I've always found that part very, very, very interesting. And when
there's a couple.
Go ahead.
There's a couple questions you could ask someone, and I'll do it with you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy, has anyone ever offered you money or anything else to say that the U.S. military-industrial complex hasn't developed UFOs?
Yes.
Someone has offered you?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Did you ever take it?
No. Don't have to.
You declare that under penalty of perjury.
That's
the one, because it's a felony if you lie on that one.
Right. See, here's the thing. I think that early on with this show, and I'm talking about the first 4 or 5 years, I was contacted constantly with the craziest. Wait, look, you just have to. But the point is that because I didn't take the bait, right, and things that, and I've always been very cautious, that part of it has slowed down. All right. It's just simply slowed down. It's not like it was, because they know that I'm not a player. I just do my own thing here, and that is it. I'm not interested. So yeah, but early on it was always a challenge, and looking at some of these statements and things and offers, where I was like, no, not interested. And I did. Now, see, here's the thing. I know that some people can't say no. And it's not that they even know that it could be misinformation or disinformation. They don't know that. That they're more interested in, wow, man, I can share this knowledge. I got the exclusive on this, right? Oh man, gee, I'm gonna go. And they're not using not only discernment, but just basic common sense. And I've seen things happen out there, and I've seen where I went, well, I got that email, I got that phone call 6 months ago, and finally they got somebody to take the bait on it, and that's what I find really, really interesting. Yeah. So okay, you said you had a second question.
Oh, that was it. Just the, you ask them something, you ask them if they've, got any, if anybody's given them, if they've taken anything to say a certain thing. And then when they say no, then you say, would you declare that under penalty of perjury? And then it's a felony if they answer that one.
Well, what I have done, what I have done over the years is, this is my little test. And so this is what I do. I'm saying this publicly right now for everybody to hear. So let's say somebody says something to me, right? Okay. And I go, okay. I don't go public with it. But what I will do is I'll make a few different phone calls to friends and trust them. And I will say, and believe me, maybe at some point on the air, I will expose a few of these individuals so that you can understand exactly what I'm saying. But I will, I will make the phone call and I'll go, okay, man, take out a pen. Okay. Write this down. Okay. Well, what does this mean? Don't worry about it. Now, underneath that, just put a date and put my name. Okay. All right. And I'll do that 3 times. I'll call up some friends. And all I want is for them to have this very cryptic thing. But the question is, will it go public? Not for me, right? Not for me, but is the information that I am being told real? 2 things happen with that. One, if it, a month or 2 goes by and then boom, this information is confirmed, then I know my source is telling me the truth. My source that gives me this information also knows that they can trust me, that I didn't go public with it. Right? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Interesting.
Good
policy.
I do this all the time. And I have to. So so I can have a conversation with somebody that I actually trust because I went and did things in this fashion. And I do it constantly. And I don't keep things on my computer. I don't. If anything comes in that's sensitive, it's erased. And I keep it up. I keep it up here. I just don't want it, and I'm not going to be part of some subpoena. We sent this to Jimmy. No, you did not, and I don't know. No, right? Well, anyway,
I have no recollection.
Yeah, zero recollection, and I just handle my business that way. And I am able to navigate through this craziness, and that's my way of dealing with it, Lafayette. And am I special? No. I'm a frigging entertainer. I'm an entertainer. I host a radio show, right? I'm not a nuclear physicist. I'm not an astronomer.
Right.
I'm not. I was never in the military or law enforcement or secret this or that. No. I'm just a dude trying to seek answers. So,
well, you're also First Amendment free press too, Jimmy, to provide a service to the public,
and
protected under the First Amendment.
And you have to be very careful with that. You have to be very, very, very careful. I don't ever want to get caught up in something that everybody else is caught up in, whether it's a conspiracy theory, it's some crazy idea, and people are talking about it. And I turn around and I echo chamber that on this show. And I try to be a part of the sensationalism and get caught up in all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out to not be true, or that people were hurt by that, or maybe somebody died or whatever. That and in the end, it was wrong. I don't want to be ever caught up in that. It's just, and these are my choices. Others out there that aren't smart enough to think about that and the implications. I'm here for the marathon. I'm not here for the short race and the short game.
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all. And I'm going to ride this till the wheels fall off, and I'm going to get the answers that I seek. But I'm going to do it the right way. And I've learned. Look, I'm far from perfect, Lafayette. I've made my mistakes over the years, and people have seen me do this in public, and it's never fun when you go through those things. But I'm not judge or jury. And it's not my job to vet everybody or every story or things. That's not my job. That's the public's job. That's the justice system's job, the court system. Let them deal with that. It's simply not my job. But I do have to remain objective and absolutely use discernment. And it's a lesson that even I have had to learn. And it's tough to go through that. But look, I'm here almost 10 years later. We started the show in 2013. We're in 2022. And I've learned a lot after 2,000 shows. You know, that's crazy to me. And
a lot of work.
And it is. And it's a big accumulation of knowledge. I was thinking, you know what? I've got other calls on hold. Lafayette, behave, be well. I could talk about this all night because I'm so passionate about it. And I through the emotional week that all of us have gone through, which started on Monday leading into, Christmas Eve, and we have yesterday, and then the aftermath of everything. I'm just like everybody else. I'm excited. Some are negative, some are positive. I happen to be on the positive side of things. I'm happy. I want more, but I went through this just like everybody else did, right? And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And that's just who I am, and that's what the show has always been based on. And certainly, like I said, I'm not perfect, and I try to improve something every single day and try to do better. And try to make this show better than it was yesterday and last week and last year. And I think to some degree we've succeeded in that. And for me personally, I've had that same growth. And if you look back at the way that I dealt with things in 2014, not things, more like subjects, how I was asking questions about Egypt or time travel or UFOs or ET or ghosts, whatever, life after death, whatever these crystals, dreams, and the way that I handle things today, I'm a different person, and I've done this growth period that I know that my audience has done the exact same thing because they've been along with me on the journey, and they've seen the changes.
A very savvy audience.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Oh, man, we got the best audience in the world. There's no question about that.
In fact, your audience knows full disclosure.
My audience, you know what, though? They know the question that I'm going to ask before I ask it. That's how engaged they are, and how well they know me.
Here's a tip, Jimmy, on how you can access it. You can combine remote viewing with the wisdom of crowds. Wave a question in an envelope with a number on it in front of the camera, and have people send you, 3 or 4 lines on their remote viewing and what's in that envelope to an email address, and then you'll recreate this. You can't get an Ingo Swann, but by the wisdom of crowds, like you hold up a jar of coffee beans and ask how many beans are in the jar, the people will give you a bell curve, and the top of the bell curve is usually correct. So the same thing could be done with full disclosure and all the things the government's hiding from us.
Man,
they're probably peeing their pants at the idea of this.
What kind of weed are you smoking? Just tell me right now, what's it called? I just want to know what it's called.
I have several varieties.
Yeah.
Part of my religion.
Lafayette.
No, but I mean, they don't like remote viewing. They shut down our military's program. We know it works, and the Fadernauts could do it.
I think so. Why not? Why not?
Why not?
We'll
it's
see.
In there. You have to interpret them, but I mean, you'll still get, and you can make a show out of it if you can't get a guess.
But there's another reason why, and it may not be what you're thinking. There's a reason why all of that is possible with this audience. They are back through to me. They are all electronically connected. All right, so this spider web of a show, right? It's all going out.
Yep.
Internet, the thing, the entanglement, they're all there, man. And so there is a direct connection, as opposed to somebody that's sitting on, the other side of the world, and they're not listening to the show in real time. That element of connection is gone. But here on this show, where you've got 200, 300,000 people that are all at the very same time listening to the show, it's not just YouTube. YouTube is a very tiny flick of our audience, right? It's TalkStream Live. It's KUNX. It's, how many people are on my website right now? How many people are listening on iHeart? How many people are listening on Spotify or Apple or Google? Tune in. I could go on and on and on. It's a big audience, and they're all through the spider web, all connected at the same time, thinking about the same things. Right? It's nuts.
For you.
Oh man, it's an entanglement test experiment of measurement, and I totally agree with you. Maybe we should do just that. There's got to be a way to do it. Yep. So I
couldn't believe they gave 3 to 4 pipes that the deep state in our government are Nazis. That's just so right on. That's I premise every conspiracy I deal with it's probably a Nazi as a placeholder, and then it ends up an affiliate. But your audience is savvy. Your audience is very savvy.
I have no idea where you're going with that, but here's the thing.
Well, that was on Quinspiracy when you did that once. Who the deep state was?
Oh, we did. We actually did that.
Yeah, that was like a year ago or something. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I was just surprised because that's pretty savvy.
See, you don't know what kind of weed Jason is smoking. That's a whole nother category. But here's the thing. So I would have the envelope with the information in it. I hold it up.
Yeah, well, write 20 questions. So you don't even know what's in the envelope, and just mix them up and write numbers on it. It's the double blind part of remote viewing.
But who does the guesses? The audience in the chat room or on Twitter?
Well, they would send it into a email address that you drew.
No, Lafayette, you lost sight of it. See, you had it. I have the envelope. I have the information in it. We're remote viewing, and I want the audience to remote view what is in this envelope. That's what we do.
But the problem is they have to do it separately because they'll be influenced by other people's guesses.
Well, fine, but somebody's going to get it right, or maybe they won't. Anyway, I gotta go before we get kicked off the network.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Behave and be well, Lafayette. That's Lafayette coming to us from somewhere in the state of California. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great show tonight. The film is called Ariel Phenomenon, and it is absolutely extraordinary. I've said it so many times tonight. I've seen it 3 times. I can watch it as many times as I want, by the way. It's a great film. It releases May 20th. We've got the links up throughout social media and over at jimmychurchradio.com. Pre-order the film. Get it. I can't wait to hear your comments and your reaction. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and this broadcast is only copyrighted 2022 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night's Fader Night, open lines all night long. Until then, I want everybody to be safe. It's time to fade to black.